Welcome back to Walls to Bridges, the podcast where biblical truth meets therapeutic tools.
Hmm.
In today's episode, we're so sorry that we're late putting this out, but you are going to find out it has been worth the wait. Today, we will be talking about unspoken expectations, the silent marriage killer. Yes. The truth is, unspoken expectations, they'll never really stay quiet. They turn into resentment.
Hmm.
What we expect but never express eventually becomes what we resent but overreact to.
And that's so funny because research continues to show us that it's not the big things, it's not the big arguments that
Right.
actually damage a marriage. It
Yeah.
is those unmet expectations, especially the ones we never actually say out loud. And so
Wow.
when we silently expect something and it doesn't happen, disappointment sets in,
That's
right?
right.
And once disappointment sets in, it starts shaping how we see each
Yes.
other.
That's so true.
And then from there, it goes from disappointment to criticism to defensiveness to emotional withdrawal, And here's the ironic part. All of these things happen even if the other person or the spouse does not even know that there was an expectation in the first place.
It sounds like the four horsemen.
Yeah. It's wild because something is occurring and I don't even know why.
That is so true. Oh my
And
gosh.
that's crazy because it feels so intense when it's happening because when the need goes unnoticed or unacknowledged,
Right.
if that's a word, I don't even know if that's a word or not, it can register internally
Right.
as this: I'm not seen and I'm not safe.
Yeah.
And those two things are killers in any relationship because some
Right.
people when a person doesn't feel seen or safe, they respond in one or two ways. They're either going to pursue or they're going to withdraw,
Withdraw.
which
Right.
is something we talked about
Right.
in
In our
previous
previous
sessions. So
episodes. Right.
others, they're going to cope by shutting down or distancing. What looks like overreaction, right, or indifference is often just insecurity trying to protect one's
So,
self.
yeah.
And so, and what I love about this is this thing has layers.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
not just, it has layers. You got brain science,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got neuroscience, but this is just another big word. Just a big word for your nervous system. And so when expectations are unclear,
Right.
I'm sorry, neuroscience is brain science. That was my bad. When expectations are unclear, the brain,
Mm-hmm.
your brain,
Your
my
brain.
brain, does not like the ambiguity. When I expect you to do something and you don't do it, my brain is like, what is going on?
Yeah, because you feel like you've been dismissed. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And it interprets this uncertainty as a threat,
Wow.
right?
Wow. Wow.
Which
Wow.
which then begins to lower empathy
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
increases negative assumptions. So instead of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they don't know. Like maybe she don't know.
You know what? That's really right.
Yes. So instead of just thinking, well, you know what? Maybe they don't know, right?
Right.
The brain is like, they don't care. you know? So and it's funny because this is all happening in real time,
That's true. Very true.
right?
Mm-hmm.
A need doesn't get met. So instead of my brain saying, maybe she just didn't know.
Right.
Brain was like, no, she knew. She knew, she just don't care.
Wow.
Right? And from
Right.
there, the brain fills in the blanks, but it rarely fills them in with grace. Yeah. So here's the key insight to this.
Wow.
We don't react
Mm-hmm.
to what our spouses did, we react
To what they
to what we expected them
to do.
to do.
And- wow.
Yeah.
So today, we're going to discuss 5 common unspoken expectations.
Yep.
The first one we're going to talk about is you should just know
Yeah.
expectation. How many of us have been guilty of that? I know I have. But this is what research says. It says the you should just know expectation sounds romantic, but it's actually one of the quickest ways to create marital disappointment.
Yep.
Research shows us that when we expect our spouse to read our mind, it increases frustration and lowers emotional safety because no one consistently guesses right.
No.
When those silent tests aren't passed, we interpret it as a lack of care
Yeah.
rather than a lack of clarity.
They don't care. They don't care.
Healthy couples don't build their relationships on this. They build it on articulation. They don't build their relationship on assumptions.
Right.
They actually build their relationships on articulation. They understand that love isn't proven by mind reading. It is strengthened by clear and honest communication. I know in our own marriage, when we first got married, I thought he should just know. I don't need to tell him, he should just know. And I was talking to an older lady and she said, honey, he doesn't know unless you tell him. And it was like the light bulb went on for me. I was like, oh,
You know what's so funny about that? Here we are with a person that we barely know,
yes.
right?
Right,
We
right.
barely know this person. But then we expect them to know our innermost desires,
Right.
our innermost thoughts,
So true.
right?
That's so true.
And so even people say, well, what if you've been married 30 years, 40 years? Okay, that's fine. But some things change.
They do change. You change with age
Yeah. So some things I know. Like some things I know.
intrinsically about me.
Yeah, some things I know. But I don't know everything.
No. And there's no way you can know everything because you're not me. And I'm
Bingo.
not you.
That's right.
There's a scripture that says this. It says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And that scripture is Hosea 4:6. The Hebrew word for knowledge is dahath, which refers not just to information, but to relational, covenantal understanding. In its original Greek context, Israel's problem was not ignorance, Rodney, of facts, but a breakdown in relational knowledge of God, his ways, his heart, and his covenant expectations.
That's
The
really good.
destruction that Hosea describes flowed from the absence of a shared, revealed understanding within the relationship between God and his people.
Yep. And so when you apply this, Hosea, that is, to script or to marriage, you know, this whole you should know expectation mirrors that same breakdown.
Yeah.
When a spouse assumes understanding without communication, they
Right.
create a gap,
They create a gap.
right? And then we respond to that gap as rejection. Which is, again, it's crazy that my assumption of what you want, of what I think you want, creates a gap. So I do something
Right.
thinking I'm doing what's right.
Right.
And it creates
A
a
gap.
gap. And then you respond to that gap as rejection. So I'm like, what the crap?
You know what? I went through this. I didn't even tell you this. I went through that last week. You remember when you went to bed early the other night?
Yep, I sure did.
And I felt some kind of way.
I know you did because you got in the bed, got on your side of the bed. I knew it.
And I felt, you didn't even know I was crying.
Well, now that I didn't know. That I didn't know.
I was crying because that's how I felt. I felt like you just dismissed me, you didn't hear me, and I had to pray and ask God to help me with my emotions because my emotions were all over the place. But I also understood that I wasn't clear in my communication either.
And so, just as Israel suffered from a lack of, listen to this, covenant clarity, couples experience resentment and conflict when expectations remain unspoken.
Yes.
So, where knowledge is absent, right? Misunderstanding fills
The
the
gap.
space or the gaps. And so, here's the theological principle. Covenant relationships, like marriage,
Yeah.
right?
Marriage is a covenant relationship, everybody. We know that, right? Okay.
It requires revealed knowledge,
It requires revealed knowledge.
not assumed knowledge. God did not expect Israel to
Come on.
to intuit his will. He revealed it,
Yes.
right? In the same way, healthy marriages are built not on mind reading,
Right.
but on articulation.
Yes.
Love deepens not through silent testing, but through mutual revelation.
So love does not deepen through silent testing. So when you don't tell your spouse what you want, you are testing them
Yeah.
to see if they could read your mind. Not gonna happen. That sounds like Jeopardy.
That's what we do. We play Jeopardy with each other.
That's so true. And then we get mad.
Alex, the answer is, and then the person like, no,
No.
this is not a game. So the antidote to this whole you should just know expectation is simple. Clarify expectations.
Yes.
It's really that simple.
That's simple.
And all this means is saying out loud what you're hoping for instead of assuming your spouse already knows.
Wow. Well, the second unspoken expectation is called emotional availability expectation. And this is what research says. Research consistently shows that emotional availability isn't just a nice bonus in marriage. It's one of the strongest predictors of long-term satisfaction
Yep.
in marriage. Gottman Institute says this. It's something called turning towards emotional bids. And you're like, what is an emotional bid? This is what an emotional bid is. Those bids can be a small comment about your day,
Yep.
a question, a sigh, even a subtle tone shift in your voice. When your husband or your wife responds with interest instead of connection builds.
Yep.
But when those bids are repeatedly missed, people start to feel emotionally alone, even if they were sitting right next to each other.
Let me add something
Please.
about these emotional bids because most of us do them with what we call close-ended questions, right? Like, how was your day?
My day was great.
That's it. Did I respond to your bid?
I did, but not the way I wanted you wanted me to respond.
But I responded
Based
to
on your question.
I responded to your question.
Yeah.
So when you ask me, how was your day? Good.
And then that's it. Then you got a whole attitude.
Yes, you got a whole attitude, right?
Yep.
Because I didn't respond to your emotional
Bid.
bid. So we got to learn the difference between close-ended
And
open-ended questions. So
yeah.
a better question would be, hey, what happened at work today?
Yeah. it's open for conversation.
Yes.
You'll have more conversation
Yes.
than how was your day.
Yes. See, ask me what happened at work today.
Hey, babe, what happened at work today?
Good.
Good.
See, that makes no sense, does it?
No, it doesn't actually.
It makes no sense. So an open-ended question does not allow for one-word answers.
It does not.
So a closed-ended question allows for one-word answers. Yeah.
Another thing is attachment research takes it a step further. It says we all bring attachment patterns into our marriage. I know that's surprising.
Yes, we do.
And those patterns shape how we expect emotional availability to look and feel in our relationship. When those expectations aren't clearly expressed, unmet needs can trigger insecurity. One partner may start pursuing, why don't we ever talk? And that's what happened when you use a closed-ended question.
Yeah. Why don't we ever talk? I don't know. I don't know.
While the other draws further away.
Yep.
And often, it's not when someone that someone doesn't care, because that's how we perceive it, that someone doesn't care. It's that emotional connection that was never clearly defined.
Clearly defined.
And it happens so often.
So often.
And you know what I really like, it talks about that we come into our marriage with emotional patterns, and we never think
Well,
about it.
that's because attachment patterns are developed in childhood, right? Babies actually,
Yes.
right? And so you're either going to be secure, anxious, fearful, or avoidant.
Wow.
Those are typically the four attachment types or attachment styles. And so depending on how you depending on your caretaker
Right.
and how he or she or they showed up in your life, that's going to determine these four styles.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so then you come into a relationship. That thing has already been developed. And so depending on which one it is, that is how you're going to show up emotionally
In your relationship.
Yeah.
Wow. This is so good.
Yeah. And so brain science actually helps us
here
to
we go.
understand
Neuroscience again.
why this feels so powerful. When you feel heard, understood, and emotionally met, your nervous system begins to calm down. That is a person that typically has a secure attachment.
Got it.
When I feel heard, my needs are met, I'm good. I'm good. Right? Stress decreases, bonding chemicals increase, connection is
Oxytocin.
strengthened,
Oxytocin.
and the body literally feels safer.
Safe. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But when those bids are ignored,
Yes.
when a side goes unnoticed, a story is dismissed, or
so
a
true.
vulnerable moment is not met,
Yes.
the brain can register this as a threat.
Yep.
So again, depending on your pattern,
Yes.
right, that is how you're going to respond.
Wow.
And when the brain senses threat, it shifts into protection mode.
I think it's interesting how even in the simplest form of communication, if it's not done correctly, it could send you into, it could cause your parasympathetic nervous system to go into fight or flight.
But it's not necessarily that communication isn't done correctly. It's the mechanics of the individual,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So the way you interpret
The way you interpret
the communication is what determines your response.
That's correct.
So if my internalization is either avoidant, fearful, or anxious, then my nervous system is going to react,
Right.
right? And so this is why defensiveness, irritability, or emotional shutdown start to show up.
Wow.
And it's not always intentional, it's neurological. This is the way my system
Right.
has detected things for the majority of my life.
Right.
So
right.
basically, in a nutshell, it's like this. And this is how you can kind of gauge it when you see children. if if you go to a daycare or kindergarten and you see parents and children, right, and you see the kid who hops out the car and they take off running and they're like, "Bye, mom, bye, dad." Typically, that is a child who is secure
Right.
in
Absolutely.
their attachment with mom and dad. They understand. Look, mom them dropping me off. They gonna be back. I'm good.
Right. Right.
Now, if you see a child who latched on to mama or daddy and they're screaming, "No, don't leave!" That child either has a fearful or an anxious
Right.
style,
Right.
right? I don't trust that you're going to come back. And so you can't leave me because I'm afraid of this big old world.
Yes.
And so when you leave me, either I'm going to sit in the corner by myself in class because I don't trust nobody,
Wow.
right?
Right.
So imagine how that child is going to show up as
In
an
a
adult.
relationship, yes, yes, it's going to show up just like
Yeah.
like they've done in childhood because that's what they've learned.
Yeah.
They've not been taught independence. They don't have
Yeah.
that security.
So, and the scripture for this is found for adults, that is. It's kind of how we deal with it. Each of you must learn how to love as you love yourself. Ephesians 5:28. Now, the Greek word for love here is agapeo, which refers to this self-giving covenantal love expressed through intentional action. Paul is grounding this command in the theology of oneness. The two become one flesh, arguing that caring for one's spouse is not optional, but an extension of caring for oneself.
Yes.
The embodied language in this particular passage suggests attentiveness, right?
Right.
Just as a person instinctively responds to their own hunger or pain,
Yes.
covenant love calls for responsive awareness towards one's spouse.
That's powerful. That's very powerful. But listen to this. Applied emotional availability. This verse moves love beyond mere provision and physical presence. If spouses are one body, then emotional attentiveness, okay, becomes a part of loving faithfully.
They become secure.
Just as we notice when we're overwhelmed, discouraged, or in need, we are called to cultivate the same awareness toward our spouse's inner world. That means emotional availability then is not mind reading, but intentional responsiveness rooted in relational unity.
That's right.
Ephesians 5 and 28 reframes emotional connection like this as covenant responsibility rather than personal preference.
Personality.
Oh, wait a minute. Personality. You know what? Thank you. But let's keep going. When a spouse feels emotionally unseen, the one flesh reality is strained because what affects one affects the whole. You know, that is so true because sometimes we say, well, that's just them. No, that's just us.
Yeah. There's no such thing as I win in a relationship.
Yeah, it's we win,
It's either we win or we lose.
one or the other.
Yeah.
Loving as one body means remaining engaged, aware, and responsive, not assuming, but participating. Emotional availability in your relationship is therefore not weakness, it is embodied covenant love lived out in daily attentiveness. And so, what's the antidote for this? Naming needs. Naming needs gives your spouse access to your inner world
That's right.
instead of testing their ability to guess it. Needs spoken invite connection. Needs hidden invite frustration.
That's it. That's it.
Let me read that again. Needs spoken invite connection, and needs unspoken invite frustration.
Yeah. Number 3, role-based expectation.
Oh, this gonna be good, y'all. This gonna be good.
Gender parenting, housework. Couples experience greater conflict when expectations are inherited from family of origin
Yes.
models instead of mutually defined agreements. So let's talk about these role-based expectations, right? Most of us, listen to this, walk into marriage carrying an invisible blueprint.
We sure do. Now that's the truth.
We assume this is just how it is done. Maybe dad handled the finances, maybe mom cleaned the house, maybe mom, took care of the kids, mom did the cooking, maybe they argued out loud, maybe they argued in silence, whatever the case may be. And without realizing it, we expect our spouses to operate from that same blueprint.
It's the truth. I mean, I think about our own marriage. I did a lot of things based on what I learned from my family of origin. I just automatically fell into that role, and I did not have the knowledge I have now to be able to decide if that was what I wanted from my marriage.
But see, that's the thing. It's not about the knowledge you have. It's not about the knowledge you have. It's our ability to come together
Right.
and form mutual agreements for what works for us, right?
We formed agreements, but we
We
formed
did.
them silently. That's what I
Well,
think.
no, we didn't.
We just kind of did things.
No, we didn't.
You know,
I told you straight up, I'm not cooking.
and I think I told you I'm not taking care of these kids by myself because I didn't get them by myself.
And that's fine. So you voice your expectation, right?
Yep.
And that's the way it should be. So when we fall into these patterns, we got to realize the real issue. The real issue is this. Those expectations were formed in your family system,
Right.
not in your marriage.
I think it's so interesting. We met with a couple last week, and this was something that we talked about. And he said by default,
By default.
he's just
It's like a computer.
yeah.
Apple is good for this. I don't know about PCs, but Apple is good for this. You're always getting an operating system update
Right,
on
right.
Apple. A lot of couples need to get an operating system
update
upgrade
upgrade.
or an update. Because many of them who got married in the 2000s
Yes.
are operating in the 1900s from their parents,
Wow. That's true. That's very true.
who are operating in the early 1900s from their parents. Somebody need to get an upgrade.
I agree. Look, I'm with you on that one.
This is why your system runs slow. This is why your system keeps crashing,
Oh Lord.
because you got a brand new marriage
Wow.
with an old operating system.
Oh my God. When
Oh,
you
I got
said
to look.
that,
I got to look in the camera.
when you said that, I thought about
Can
a Mac.
you zoom in on me? Oh, he said he can't zoom in. Okay. Well, hey, like Kevin Hart told Stephen A. Where the camera at? Where the camera at? Zoom in. Some of you have new marriages
Yes.
with old operating systems. And you need to get an upgrade.
Yes.
And this is how you get an upgrade, through a big old word called individuation.
Yep. Individuation. That's correct.
Individuation is the process of separating your identity and assumptions from your family of origin. It is learning to say, that's how my family did it, but what do we want to do?
Yep.
In other words, you're getting rid of
What they did.
what they did, and you're developing a
Your
way
own.
that we're going to do it. So
Yes.
without individuation, you don't choose your roles, you inherit them.
Wow. Check this out. When individuation hasn't happened, criticism often sounds like this. Why don't you act like a real husband?
Yep. Like my daddy.
Why don't you parent like my mom did?
Old system.
But the real issue isn't laziness or lack of care. It's unexamined expectations. Healthy marriages require two differentiated individuals choosing their roles intentionally, not replaying childhood scripts, not defending family traditions, but building something new together.
Operating system.
Yes. Because marriage isn't about copying what you came from. It's about consciously creating what you're becoming.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen to this scripture. Listen before you speak, for to speak before you've heard the facts will bring humiliation. Proverbs 18:13. In the Hebrew text, listen implies attentive, discerning understanding, not merely hearing words, but seeking clarity before responding.
That's right.
Wisdom literature, the Bible is wisdom literature, but Proverbs and all of them are called wisdom literature, consistently contrasts the wise person who pauses to understand with the fool who reacts from assumption.
Yep.
The warning is this: relational.
It's relational.
Speaking without fully hearing leads to shame because conclusions were formed without sufficient knowledge.
Can you read that again, please?
Hearing,
No. The warning. Right
the
there.
warning is relational.
Relational.
Speaking without clearly and fully hearing leads to shame because conclusions were formed without sufficient knowledge.
That's right. And so when you apply Proverbs 13 to marriage or role-based expectations, it really hits home. Here's why. A lot of conflict in these areas is not about the task itself. It is about the inherited assumptions. When
so
someone
true.
thinks this is what a husband really does, or this is what a good mom, how they handle this, without ever asking their spouse how they see it, they're answering before truly hearing.
That's true.
And most of the time, those expectations didn't start in the marriage. They were shaped by family systems, old operating systems, and cultural scripts. Cultural
That's so
scripts.
true. That's so true. There's so much into that, but we
Yeah,
won't talk
we don't
about
have.
that.
Boy,
got
we
time
don't.
about
Ooh,
that.
we don't have time to get into that.
We
There,
don't
boy.
have time for that.
Ooh, wait.
No.
Proverbs 18:13 invites couples into relational wisdom.
Wow.
It calls us to slow down, listen carefully, and seek understanding before forming conclusions. Right?
Yes.
Instead of imposing the roles we grew up with, we're invited to have intentional conversations
Yes.
and define responsibilities together.
Together.
Because in marriage, answering before hearing doesn't just create embarrassment, it builds resentment.
Because you didn't hear me.
That's right.
You didn't take the time to hear me. You just jumped and made a conclusion. Yeah, that'll cause resentment for sure.
So the antidote to this is simple:
What's the antidote?
defining roles, which means agreeing together on who does what instead of relying on assumptions shaped by culture or family history.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, expectation number 4 is timing and priority expectation. I am so guilty of this,
Yeah, you are.
Research shows that many marital conflicts around timing and priorities aren't really about what needs to be done, but when it should be done and how urgent it feels. I am so guilty. Studies from Gottman
She
indicate that conflict escalates when one partner interprets delay as a lack of care. In those moments, the issue shifts from the task itself to the meaning attached to it. If this mattered to you, you would do it now.
Yep.
Boy, I have said that. I want it done right now. But we're not going to talk about that, right? Okay, we're not going to talk about it. Time perception research also reveals that people process urgency differently. Some individuals feel internal stress when tasks remain unfinished, while others operate with more flexibility and lower time-based anxiety. Boy, that is so you, Rodney.
It sure is.
That is so you. When these differences aren't acknowledged, spouses can misinterpret temperaments as character flaws, viewing delay as laziness or pressure as control, rather than recognizing differing cognitive styles. I can see this in our relationship so clear.
Yeah, you sure do. You sure can.
Oh, you know what? You need to stop because you are guilty as well. Thank you. Don't sit up here acting like you innocent.
When something matters to you, right?
Yeah.
And it gets delayed. Once again, this good old brain
Neuroscience.
sees this as a scheduling difference
Yes.
or and a relational threat. I don't know why the brain does that, but it does. It's true. It's especially true if the issue touches on security, finances, parenting, or emotional repair.
Wow.
Right?
Right.
When that threat response activates, everything goes to pot pretty much. It just
That's
lowers.
true. That's
right?
true.
And so then conversation feels sharper than the situation that really wants. So we got to understand the difference in urgency.
That's true.
It's normal. It's normal.
Because what may be urgent to you may not be urgent to me,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
We have to learn to clarify why something feels urgent to one person,
Right.
then agree on a realistic timeline and align around shared priorities. So when urgency is discussed instead of assumed,
Right.
right? Responsiveness replaces resentment
That's so true.
and partnership replaces pressure.
Wow.
Ecclesiastes 3:1 says this. I love it. There is a right time for everything.
Come on now. Preach that. It's true. It's very true.
The Hebrew word for season means it is zaman, and it means an appointed or fixed time. And the word time is eth, referring to a fitting or appropriate moment,
Wow.
right? The writer is not merely describing chronological time, but the wisdom of recognizing suitability,
Yes.
discerning when something is appropriate within the larger rhythm, right, of life under God's sovereignty. The passage, this is what he's really saying. He's reinforcing that timing is not random, but ordered within divine providence. Basically,
Wow.
the
Wow.
writer is saying,
Wow.
look, we got to have discernment about what really is, priority and what really
Right.
is
Yes.
urgent
Yes.
within the grand scheme of life.
Wow.
Me taking out the trash, it ain't urgent unless it's funky, field, or something like that.
Right.
But
Right.
it's not urgent because you think it's urgent. And so we got to begin to see these things within
That's
the
so
grand
true.
scheme of our relationship.
That's true.
Yeah.
Applied to marriage, this verse speaks directly to timing and priority expectations. Conflict often arises not because spouses disagree, about what matters, but because they differ on when it should matter the most. One partner may feel urgency around finances, parenting decisions, yeah, that's you, or emotional repair, that would be me, while the other perceives flexibility. Ecclesiastes reminds us that wisdom involves discerning the fitting time rather than demanding immediate alignment.
Come on.
The tension is not solved by pressure, but by shared discernment. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, reframes timing differences as invitations to conversations.
Read that again.
Ecclesiastes 3:1 reframes timing differences as an invitation to conversation rather than accusations of indifference.
That's right.
If there is a right time for every intention, then part of marital maturity is learning to negotiate those times together. Instead of equating delay with lack of love, because that's what we do, spouses are called to speak agreement about priority
Seek agreement.
and season.
Seek agreement. You said speak. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
They are called to seek
because
agreement.
that's important. Seek agreement.
We're called to seek agreement with our partner
That's right.
about priority and season. And when we do this, timing becomes less about control
Yep.
and more about covenantal alignment under God's ordering of life. So what's the
Come
antidote?
on.
Align timelines. Aligning timelines acknowledges that differences in urgency can exist without disrespect. When timing is discussed, expectations shift from pressure to partnership.
Wow.
When we discuss timing, it shifts from pressure to partnership.
Yep. And our last one is appreciation and recognition. Right?
Yes.
Oh, let me see. Let me. Where do I want to go? According to Mr. Gottman, right, thriving couples maintain a strong ratio of positive to negative interactions, often defined as about 5 positives to every negative, right? Verbal gratitude, acknowledgement, and noticing effort are key contributors to that positive balance. When appreciation declines,
Right.
criticism and emotional distance tend to increase, right?
Wow.
And so there's research out there that suggests that humans are wired for affirmation.
Absolutely.
Feeling seen and valued activates reward centers in the brain and strengthens relational bonding, while a lack of recognition can be interpreted as social rejection. Over time, when effort consistently goes unnoticed, motivation decreases.
Wow. You know, it's not only in marriage, but it happens on your job.
And it's not because love is gone, but because investment feels invisible.
Wow. Investment feels invisible.
Yeah. Appreciation matters. People naturally
That's so true.
evaluate their relationships based on perceived fairness and reciprocity.
Wow.
Whether the effort they give feels seen and valued in return. When this appreciation is expected but never expressed, it is easy for partners to start keeping quiet.
Wow.
They begin to keep an internal score. When
That's not good.
appreciation doesn't show up, we start
Yeah.
keeping score with each other internally.
We do. And we say we aren't, but we do.
We do. Look at how much I do.
Yes. That's keeping score.
Look. I washed the dishes 3 times this week.
Yep.
I took out the trash.
Ooh.
I took out the trash all
Ooh.
last month.
I repent. I repent.
And we do this again because appreciation is not acknowledged.
That's so true. That is so true.
So we begin to keep a ledger.
We keep an internal ledger.
Yes. And if you know anything about a ledger, right? You keep the amounts in a ledger. A ledger is designed to show you what has been deposited
And what's been
and what has been
withdrawn.
subtracted,
Yes.
right? And so every time I wash the dishes, that's a deposit from me.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you don't, that's a withdrawal.
Yes.
So you got a negative going on.
You remember that book, The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman? And it talked about the love bank
The love bank.
and how, you got people, they're not depositing, but they keep trying to make withdrawals. You can't make a withdrawal if you haven't put something in. You're going to come up negative every time. But go ahead.
I remember somebody said, I got checks, don't I? They said I got checks.
And what's going to happen to the check if you write it?
But you don't have no money.
Come on.
They said it don't matter, I got checks.
Oh, boy.
You can't write a check if you don't have no money.
No, you gotta have a deposit to write a check.
Go ahead and read Hebrews 3:13.
Hebrews 3:13 says this: encourage one another daily while it is still called today, so that none of you will be hardened by sin's deceitfulness. The Greek word for encourage is parakaleo, which means to call alongside, to strengthen, to comfort, and to exhort. It carries relational weight. It's not casual positivity, but intentional reinforcement of someone's faith and resolve. The command is continuous, daily, emphasizing that encouragement is not occasional, arithmetic, and preventative. In its original context, the author of the Hebrews is warning believers about spiritual drift and hardness of heart.
Yep.
Encouragement functions as protection. Let me read that again.
Yes.
Encouragement functions as protection. Without regular strengthening, hearts can become hardened, desensitized, discouraged, and distant. That is so true because it happens in marriage. I've even had that in my own relationship. The verse assumes that isolation weakens and affirmation strengthens.
Yep.
Community is present as a safeguard against internal erosion. What I really like, it says, without regular strengthening, hearts become hardened.
Yeah.
When we affirm and encourage each other, that keeps the heart open and keeps the heart softened towards one another.
Yep. When affirmation is missing, hearts do not usually harden overnight.
That's true.
But over time, discouragement and feeling unseen can slowly create distance.
That's so true.
It's not always dramatic conflict. Sometimes it's just quiet invisibility that erodes connection.
Wow.
This is why daily encouragement matters so much. Regular affirmation keeps the relational atmosphere soft and it protects against resentment.
Yes.
Appreciation is not empty flattery, it is covenantal reinforcement. In marriage, consistent spoken recognition strengthens the bond and keeps emotional closeness alive by reminding your spouse, I see you and what you do matters.
That's so true. As you were speaking, I was just reflecting in my mind about how so many things that we have walked through down through the years, that the encouragement, you valued that.
Yeah.
And I say, I appreciate all that you do because I understand you don't have to do what you do, but I see it and I love you for it. I thank God for
It is
you
important.
and your consistency. Like I told you today, I said, boy, that boy is fine. Even the car is fine he drives. But anyway, go ahead.
The antidote. Expressing appreciation. This turns effort into connection by making unseen work visible, right? Gratitude voiced regularly protects the heart from feeling unnoticed or taken for granted.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's so true. Okay, why expectations turn toxic when unspoken? Unspoken expectation, number one, what it does why they turn toxic, number one is it creates invisible contracts. Number two, it fuels resentment cycles. Number three, it leads to emotional withdrawal or pursuit. Number four, it shifts marriage from partnership to performance. Expectations without communications becomes entitlement.
Yep.
Our closing thoughts on this podcast is this. Healthy marriages don't avoid expectations, they talk about them. Love does not assume, love articulates. Love doesn't punish silence, it invites clarity.
Yep.
So, we hope you enjoyed this episode because we did. So, until next time, remember this.
Build
Build
bridges
bridges and
and
not
not
walls.
walls.